So I'm watching this video clip from Lance Wallno, and you can take it any way you want, but I personally find it to be a scathing rebuke, mild rebuke, nonetheless a rebuke to the church, and you'll see why. So check out this video clip, and let me just kind of open myself up there. All right, check this out.
He's got a panel, and one of the women who just stepped down from a city council position is a lesbian, progressive, liberal. And I'm going, well, this is interesting. And she is on the same page with him, because she was probing about what's really the story going on here in California. And she's one of those classic liberals, like, she's saying, you know, the solution is if the problem is nutrition, then why aren't we getting people outside and getting them to do vitamin D and letting them, teaching them how to do organic gardening and helping our citizens learn how to cook? So the thing that's great about liberals is they're so much better than Christians at taking an interest in the well-being of other people. That's why they have to control your life, because a lot of them want to help you. Now, the higher up you go, the more satanic it is, because a lot of them want to control you. But at a local level, they just want no carbon, in the air. They want organic gardening. They don't want, any plastics in the ocean. But it's actually, it's a stewardship gone crazy, because there's no kind of, you might say, biblical sense. We go to the other extreme. We could give a rip because we're all getting raptured and leaving anyway. So we're irresponsible and in a sense stupid, because we don't even take care of culture. We just want to be left alone and do our thing. But I just want to show you this moment in this interview, because this lady's going, look, I don't even believe in the devil or religion, but this thing is satanic. I got to share this with you guys. All right. So here we go. We're going to flip it around. And let's see if I can get this thing to play for you.
The winter.
Right.
This is what I call economic death by 1,000 cuts.
Yeah, that's right.
There's not one final blow, which is a series of many cuts that just ultimately you just bleed out. And that's what we're experiencing. And I say to folks, look at guys, this has nothing to do with health. If it has something to do with health, we would actually be doing different things, right? We would be making sure that we were building our own immune system and living and encouraging a healthy lifestyle. That's not what this is about. And again, I'm not a religious person, but I've defined this to be very much a spiritual war.
Yeah.
And I've never believed in the devil. But what I'm seeing are very satanic actions.
Yeah.
And this is a progressive lesbian in a small part of Northern California saying this. Okay?
Cracks me up.
And I also don't have any political affiliation. I don't believe in the Republicans. I don't believe in the Democrats. In fact, I think they all need to come to Jesus conversation with themselves, to be honest.
Yeah.
I can help that. Party. We're thinking about calling it the surprise party, just to kind of amp it up a little. So, and so the thing is, this has
That's great. Let's form a surprise party.
These are war games. These are proxy wars, whether it's banking wars, food wars, economic wars, health wars, misinformation, disinformation, psyops. I have to tell you something. I was raised in this community. This is a tightly knit community, and we've been destroyed. The fabric of our community has been destroyed. Let me tell you how it got destroyed. When we had that staying home in order from Newsom, we went in, no problem. But when we went into our homes, we actually underwent psychological warfare.
Think about this.
24/7. And the message we heard over and over and over again was, be afraid. Be very afraid.
I'm telling you.
Be afraid of the sun.
Fear.
Be afraid of outdoors. Be afraid of fresh air, your neighbor, your friends, your
church.
businesses, whatever you do, be afraid. And when we went back out, I was sitting out this one evening on a Tuesday night on the back porch of a restaurant, and I saw my friends and neighbors coming out for the first time, like really wandering out. And they had this look on their face. And I kept thinking, what does that remind me of? What is that? And I was like, oh, I remember what this is. This reminds me of that deer in the lights look, this PTSD look that I saw when I went to Hurricane Katrina after the hurricane and was doing work. I volunteered a couple times. And the people's faces had this they were in shock. And I realized what had happened is we had undergone psychological warfare, which makes sense with artificial intelligence, which I think is all that, it's behind that, quite a bit. And the fact that we had an algorithms where every screen, whether it was an iPad, a laptop, or your iPhone, had you nailed and knew how and knows how now more than ever to trigger you.
Yeah.
And people have been triggered. And whatever their biggest fear has been, whether it's death, the unknown, putting food on the table, being ostracized, whatever it is, they have been triggered. And so when I now go into town, if I don't wear a mask, I can easily be berated.
Shamed.
But the thing that's most sad is when I go into town, it's not my community any longer.
Right.
I don't recognize anyone. I don't see my people, even because I don't recognize, they're behind masks.
Yep.
And everyone is in such fear, we no longer look into each other's eyes.
Yep.
Because we are afraid of disapproval, a glare, a snide remark, a stranger, and we don't even look at one another any longer. This is inhumane treatment, and we're literally losing our humanness.
Yeah. And there's nobody contending for this. The press isn't covering it. They're using the data to frighten us. They're in collusion with these local governments. The representatives aren't speaking.
No.
They're pitting us against one another. I mean, really, you had a judge who today had to rule against a church.
His church.
And we've had no cases. We've been open since May 31st. Yeah. No cases. And they rule against us.
Rob McCall.
It just, we're instilling fear. And then prior to our case, they're shutting down and abusing a business that wants to make people healthy.
Right.
While the cases are rapidly dropping, right. and they're not doing anything about it. They're not opening the county, and these boxes are unattainable. It's like going into a used car dealer and you know they do the shell game with you. That's what the governor's doing with us.
They can't solve the problem because they're not going to solve
it. These are heroes.
The government wants to keep
and if everyone takes off the mask and says, enough is enough.
And it's true because I walk around in my community, going in and out of places, grocery stores, and I have people come up to me and they expect me to recognize who they are. This has happened to me more than once, probably 3 times now over the last month or so. I would bump into people, they're masked, I'm not, okay? They recognize me, obviously, because I don't walk around like this. I mean, it's really tough to see who is behind the mask. And so when I see people come up to me and they're smiling and they're expecting me to recognize them, I'm the guy with the deer in the headlight look like, who are you? And so sometimes I think I want to say, out of the 2 of the 3 times, I've had to courteously ask them to do this so that I could recognize them. Anyway, I thought I'd share this with you. It really isn't about health anymore, and no big news flash. But here is, I call this a rebuke to the church because we're finally starting to get it. Some of us, some of the churches, maybe some of the leadership. And the ones that are getting it are the ones being attacked. They're the ones that are being fined. They're the ones being threatened in some fashion. And so pray. This has been a rebuke. We are so removed in so many cases from what's going on in the world. And really we must come against the spirit of fear, which is being epitomized or embodied in this. Okay, so food for thought. Again, I saw this as a scathing rebuke, considering that this lady who is not a pastor, is not a Christian, is not affiliated with any political party. She doesn't believe in God, but yet what she is seeing is, as she admitted, satanic. All right, only be strong and courageous in speaking the truth. Talk to y'all later.